Have you ever really stopped and wondered what's actually going on inside the brain of your phone or your computer? I mean, that tiny little chip, the CPU, it's the engine behind our entire digital lives. So today, we're going to crack it open and see how it really thinks. We're about to go on a little journey, okay? All the way from the very beginning of personal computers to the absolute monsters we have in our pockets today. And what we're going to find is this secret connection, a kind of technological DNA that links them all. So on one side, you've got the legend, the 6502 processor from '83. I mean, this chip powered a whole generation, the Apple IIe, the first Nintendo, all that stuff. And on the other side, the modern Apple M1, a beast that can render massive 3D worlds in real time. They seem like they're from different universes, right?
To really get a sense of the scale here, that classic 6502 chip, it was made of just over 4,500 transistors, which, for the time, was an incredible achievement. But just wait.
A modern M1 chip, it has 16 billion transistors. No, that is not a typo. 16 billion. The jump in scale is it's hard to even wrap your head around. And yet, I promise you, these two chips work on the exact same fundamental principle.
So what is it? What's the secret? What's this technological DNA that connects a chip that struggled to run Oregon Trail to one that runs complex AI? Well, that's the puzzle we're about to solve.
To understand all this insane complexity, we're just going to build a simple model in our heads, an analogy that's going to make everything click. So, let's picture the CPU as a room with a super organized little robot inside.
First, in this room, we've got these huge bookshelves. This is your computer's long-term storage, right? Your solid-state drive. It's where all your programs and files are kept safe, just waiting to be used.
Now, our robot also has a little cart. This is your computer's RAM. It's the short-term, super-fast memory. The robot uses this cart to grab the specific books it needs right now from the shelves and bring them over to its desk.
And on that desk, there's just a small piece of paper and a pencil. Think of this like the CPU's registers. It's an incredibly fast but tiny little scratch pad for jotting down the exact numbers the robot is working with in this very instant.
And finally, the most important tool of all, a simple calculator. This is the heart of the whole operation, the arithmetic logic unit, or ALU. This is what does the actual work, the adding, the subtracting, the comparing, all the basic math that makes everything else possible.
Okay, so we've got our pieces, the bookshelves, the cart, the paper, and the calculator. Now let's put our little robot to work. Because seeing these simple parts move in a constant cycle, that's going to reveal the secret to how every single CPU works.
Let's imagine a super simple program. Step 1, the robot gets an instruction to load a number from a book and scribble it on its little paper. Step 2, it gets an increment instruction. So it punches that number into the calculator and adds 1. Step 3, it gets a store instruction. So it takes the new number from the calculator and writes it back in the book. And then it just does that again and again and again.
So, what's the big secret? What's the profound principle that powers everything? Well, you're looking at it. That's it. This incredibly basic, repetitive loop is the engine of everything.
Now this little dance our robot is doing, it has a technical name, of course. It's the fetch, decode, execute cycle. The CPU fetches the next instruction. It decodes it to figure out what to do, and then it executes the command. This simple 3-beat rhythm is the technological DNA we've been hunting for.
But hold on. If the cycle itself is so simple, where does all the mind-blowing power of a modern chip come from? Well, it comes down to one thing: unbelievable speed. The magic isn't the cycle, it's how ridiculously fast and efficiently modern chips can do it.
So that old 6502 processor ran at about 1 megahertz. That means he could run that 3-step cycle about 1,000,000 times a second. The M1, it runs at 3.2 gigahertz. That's 3.2 billion cycles a second. And that's not all. You add in clever tricks like pipelining, which is kind of like an assembly line where the chip is fetching one instruction, decoding a second, and executing a third all at the same time, and you get this massive, colossal leap in performance.
Now that core cycle, it turns out there are different ways to approach it. And this brings us to two big philosophies in processor design: RISC and CISC.
Okay, this is really cool because it shows how two different ideas can both be super successful. RISC, that stands for Reduced Instruction Set, it uses a small number of very simple, very fast instructions.
The big win here is that it's way more energy efficient, and that's absolutely crucial for anything that runs on a battery, right? That's why RISC is in pretty much every smartphone, and it's what makes Apple's M1 chips so powerful. CISC, or complex instruction set, is the more traditional approach. It packs more punch into each command, but there are thousands of them. Think of desktops and servers, they mostly use CISC.
And this is the part that just absolutely floors me. Every single thing, every video you stream, every game you play, every app you open, it all boils down to just combining a few hundred basic commands in different ways. The Apple M1, for example, can do everything it does with just 354 different types of instructions. It's wild.
So, let's wrap this all up. What did we learn? Well, number one, all CPUs, from the granddaddies to the brand new ones, share that common technological DNA. And we know what it is now, the fetch, decode, execute cycle. We saw how a simple story about a robot can make it all make sense. And finally, it's the insane speed of that cycle, combined with different design philosophies like RISC and CISC, that creates the amazing performance we take for granted today. It really makes you think, doesn't it? If this one simple, elegant, three-step cycle was the fundamental building block for our entire digital world, what's the next simple idea that's going to build the world of tomorrow?